Hey y'all, welcome. I'm Mikey, and thank you for joining me. And this is Tell Your Friends. You're tuned in live to Glacier FM. Come on in, take a seat, get comfortable, and take off your shoes. We're going to chill for a little bit. So here we are on another one of our interviews from a man's perspective. And I'm going to go ahead and allow my guest to introduce himself.
All right, good evening. How you doing? My name's Eddie Hamilton. I'm from Shreveport, Bossier City, Louisiana, which is about 3 hours east of Dallas, Texas, straight on I-20. So that gives you an idea where we're located at here. I am a podcaster. The name of it is the Coach's Sanctuary. And also my occupation full time is I'm the head boys basketball coach at Airline High School in Bossier City, Louisiana. I'm in year 18 in that profession. I know I don't look it, so
Right.
yeah. But yeah,
Congratulations on the longevity.
yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's been a little bouncing around, here and there, but this is where I am now and enjoying it. Also, I'm married. I'm in my 20th year of marriage, going into year 21 on December the 8th this year. And my wife, she's a nurse. She's also a licensed cosmetologist.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, but nursing is what she's been doing now for the last 6 years. She did hair for about 10 or 11 years before she got into nursing. And we have one son by the name of Ethan Jeremiah, and he recently turned 10 years old, and he's my miracle child. We finally were blessed with him after 5 miscarriages,
mm,
and two more after him. So he's our miracle child, Ethan
okay.
Jeremiah. Yeah.
Well,
So
congratulations on Ethan
thank you,
Jeremiah.
thank you.
Okay, so you said and your age?
Yes, I'm 41. I'm 41 years
Okay.
old. I'll be 42 November the 11th.
Okay. Well, happy early birthday. My
Thank
son's
you.
birthday is November 30th, my only
Okay.
son.
All right. There you go.
Okay. So, how did you grow up? Did you grow up with a single parent, both parents, neither?
Yeah, I had mom and dad there. Mom and dad, they're there, man. So I'll be 42 this year. So they'll be married 43 years in December.
Nice.
Hmm.
That's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. To their longevity.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The
Right.
highs and lows, the ups and downs, but then they still rocking. They still rocking.
That's what matters. That's what
Yeah,
matters. It's not what you go through, it's how you get through
that's right. Absolutely,
it.
you
Yes,
got that
sir.
right.
So, how do you feel about the new modern woman mentality? The bad bee, chasing the bag, the new temperature. How do you feel about that mentality?
Well, it's of course it's about the angle you take it from, because of course it's not a one size fit all situation. Um, but it is definitely it's an attitude that comes along with it. So it just depends on the attitude that she gives. When it comes down to being the boss. So I don't have a problem at all personally with a woman who's really trying to find herself and really push through to take care of things that she have to in her life. But on the flip side, I will say this. I will say I think that there's a switch, when it comes down to being a boss and your professional life, and taking care of things and building business and building a brand, but then also, you know, being, a partner, in a relationship. I just think that there's a switch there. And, so like I said, it just depends on case by case, situation by situation, how you dictate, the attitude in that. So, but I do think there's a place for it.
Okay. Now, along with that, the modern woman, we have the bad bee. Now, that's the one who, don't mess with them unless he can get you a Birkin and, the city girls. And so, how do you feel about that energy?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of this deal
Especially
for
for
me.
our community.
Oh yeah, yeah. I believe me. I understand. I see it all the time. I'm born and raised, in the hood here in Shreveport, man. So I've seen a lot. I know I don't come off with that persona, but I was raised around it. I went to Booker T. Washington High School, here historical black school,
Mhm.
so I saw a lot. And like I said, it's just, man, it's just the attitude that it comes with, because case by case you see them handle themselves differently,
Right.
and but then when it comes down to what she say, I want to have this, and this. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with saying, I would like for him to be able to buy this or provide this. Okay, that's cool. But at the same time, it was designed for a man and a woman to have roles in a relationship. It's a designation. It's the way it was designed, and it's like you want all those things, but then what are you bringing to the table? And I don't mean financially. I don't. That's not what that means, because you don't have to have a dime to
Mhm.
be a wife. You don't have to have this perfect
Or
big
to
time
be
job
of
and everything.
value or to add value, you don't have to have a dime.
That's right. Your value does not come from the career, that you have, but there are qualities, that a woman has that a man cannot have. Being delicate, being nurturing, being supportive, being able to take what a man brings home and being able to make it work for the household. And I saw that for my own family. My wife and I, we started off with nothing,
Right.
absolutely nothing. I was a junior in college. She was a senior, and I made $400 a month.
Oh,
Four
wow.
hundred. You understand me? Now I'm in
Yes,
school.
I understand you.
Yeah. So so the thing about it is we built this life together, and I mean, of
Right.
course, I it's not a whole lot to try to throw out, but I will say this: we live in one of the nicest neighborhoods in Bossier City. You know what I'm saying? And it took
Right.
both of us, but over time, we built it together. It wasn't, I had this, she had this. We built it together. We went from rags. And like I said, I'm real, just real kind of cautious when I say riches, but we're in the best situation we've ever been. And our trust for each other is solid because we built it together. So, so like I said, a woman with that attitude, man, like I said, it's not that I knock it. It's just that make sure that you understand what your role is as a wife and understand what your duties as a wife. And some people say that it's not cooking, cleaning, all that stuff there. There's an attitude that comes with being a wife. And it's like I said, being supportive, being nurturing, being understanding, being long suffering sometimes, sometimes biting your tongue. Sometimes you got to speak up. Like you got to be able to discern when it's time to turn those things on and off. And that's what makes the relationship from, the wife perspective and the man work together, understanding how each one of your roles work.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I hear you keep throwing out these nurturing, all of these feminine qualities. So that kind of leads into one of my questions.
Mhm.
Do you feel like a lot of the women in our community are residing in their divine masculine too much?
Yeah, and I think there's been, I think at one point in time, when I look at my over the course of my life, how things changed from the '80s to the '90s to the 2000s. You look at the progression. It's almost like it was an agenda being pushed. You know, because I remember in
Mm,
the late '80s, it was girl into the night. It was a strong single black mother,
right.
and I'm like, okay, nothing wrong with doing what you got to do. you
Mm,
know but I also feel like it was an agenda being pushed there, and it had women, I think, choosing some situations to when they didn't have to be alone,
it
and then
started
kind of,
before that though. It started
okay,
after the feminist movement
okay,
when they turned the melanated woman against the melanated man, and
yeah,
then you have them giving them housing and welfare and all of that if you don't have a man in the household.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
in the 80s, then they pushed in the crack epidemic. So now you
yeah,
have men selling crack, doing crack, going to prison. So they're further out of the home.
right, right, I agree.
Then that's when they push that you're a strong woman, you're a strong mother agenda
Yeah,
after they pushed y'all out the way.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and I agree with that. And like I said, it's just a situation when it comes down to it that in your singleness, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, like you got to make it work. But at the same time, I feel like the design, that God created us in, it was designed husband, wife, family. That
It
was the
wasn't meant
design.
for you to do it alone, ladies.
That's right. It, it,
You
it
can't
was it
make the
was
baby by yourself. How do you think you can raise the baby by yourself? Any way you do it, you need a sperm. Whether you go to the little clinic and you look through the little book and you like, ooh, he sounds good. You still
uh
need a sperm.
that's true. I mean, and that's the thing about it. And let's be honest here. Like I said, we grown folks on here. People don't lay around and say, "Man, I want to have all these kids by myself." Man, we
Right.
having sex. We having sex. Outside of marriage. I did. I started
I did
early.
too.
I lost my
I did
virginity
too.
early. And I will honestly say I regret it. I wish, because my mother really did talk to me, about keeping myself into marriage. I grew up in the church,
Right.
and but at the same time, it's not, people are not laying around saying, "Man, I want to have all these kids by myself and raise them by myself." It's, man, we having sex in this freedom that we say we have. You know what I'm saying? And you mess
Right.
around with a man or a woman that they're not husband wife material, but they rocking your world.
And not only that, but people aren't courting like they were when our parents and our grandparents were younger. That's when
Yeah,
men were courting women. They weren't just having sex freely like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, that's
there
true.
was more, now it's like you meet a woman at the bar and she got a fat butt. And
Uh,
now 4 hours later, you guys are having sex. And then 6 weeks later, she's late on her period.
that is,
And now,
and that's
now
true.
you got to tell her your real name because when you met her, you told her your name was Tyrone, and now you got to tell her your name is really Charles
Yeah,
because now we're about to have a baby,
that's right.
and we've only
Absolutely.
known each other less than 90 days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you think about that, it's like now, you mess around, and in some situations, not all, you mess around in situations like that. Now you impregnated, you decide to have a child out of that situation, and then now you gotta boss up. I gotta figure out how to get this done on my own. Dude ain't paying child support, or he's not being around, and then so now the boss movement, I think, was built up out of anger, frustration, hurt, disappointment, and
Resentment.
yes, yes, you hitting it right on the head with that. And so now I got to build up this emotional detachment and this wall
Everything.
to everything, and I got to do it myself, and I don't need no man and all this kind of stuff here. And I understand experiences mold us, but
It
at the
was.
same time, it's just, that's not the design. We weren't made, for that. And our ladies are having to be in positions to do things that they just wasn't designed to do. And that's why I said it's the attitude that it comes with. Some women, because some it's a divorce, some it's an abusive relationship. It's
For
different
some, it's
things.
their choices that they keep making. Because, see, I tell a lot of women who are like, I keep running across sorry men. Well, see, that's when I feel like you might need to do a little self reflection because
Yeah.
you seem to be the common denominator. Now, if
Wow.
you've dealt with 7 different men and all of them were sorry, then maybe you might need to change your energy that you're putting out to the world so that you change the energy that you're receiving back.
I agree. I agree
And I'm
100%.
speaking that from experience, Eddie, because I can speak as a young melanated woman. It was when you have all these different influences
Hmm.
of elder women who you're supposed to look up to, who are supposed
Hmm.
to, guide you in the right direction, and they're planting the wrong seeds.
Hmm.
You have to unlearn that.
That's right. You
But
you
if
are
you
so
don't
right.
know it's wrong, then how do you know you need to unlearn it?
Wow. Wow. And I think that's the thing too, when you because you're being very, very self-aware, which is rare. It's rare for to find, people like ourselves who are self-aware because of the message that we choose to listen to. And a lot of times, our messaging comes through the music we watch, the movies that we watch. And a
That's
lot
all
of times,
planting seeds.
That's right. So we're not understanding what we're feeding ourselves, and like you gotta hear something different. Whether it's through church or motivational speaking or something inspirational,
Whatever you're into.
we gotta hear something different in
You
order to
can't
give
just
ourselves.
always hear about the WAP and the shootings and the killings and the selling drugs and the I'm sleeping with 17 women and I want to bust on your forehead. You can't always feed your spirit with that. You
Right,
can't always feed your spirit with love and hip hop and basketball wives, and because you're gonna start mirroring that.
right,
And that's
absolutely,
why I feel like they put that into the media because, first of all, they have all of these women being single mothers, and either you have to work, you have to do something to take care of your household in some kind of
right,
way. So a
right,
lot of these children, social media and the media is raising them. So you have these little girls that are watching Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Wives, and all of those shows like that are
right.
further reinforcing the negative behavior and letting them know, oh, this is how you act. You act obnoxious and loud and ghetto. And you get in fights everywhere you go. You get kicked out of everywhere you go. And you're going to be rewarded. You could get a bag.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Good
I'm telling
behavior
you,
is not being rewarded.
and it's just
They're not
amazing.
teaching these little girls to be classy. And then if she's seeing all of this on TV, on YouTube, on Instagram, on everywhere, and then her mother acts like that, where is the positive role model to offset all of this negativity?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have to be more intentional with
I agree.
what we're putting inside of ourselves. We have to be more intentional about the message that we're feeding ourselves. Because I'm telling you, man, for the moments that you feel good, it's 1,000 more moments that you don't.
Right.
I mean, it's tough. And for me, working in the education system, I've seen it all with young ladies. Different times. I remember when I first started teaching back in 2003, 2004. My first group was eighth grade girls,
Mm,
and I
that's a
actually used
rough
to talk
phase.
to, yeah, I actually used to talk to them every now and again, just about how they carry themselves and how to handle themselves with
As
young
a male
boys.
figure, that's beautiful.
Yes, yeah, and
Some
I
of them need
remember,
that because they don't have a male figure. And
yeah,
then you have mothers that already are pushing the wrong agenda or the other women around them because I was one of those young ladies that learned use what you got to get what you want.
right,
So that makes
and
us look at the men of our community as money. We're not looking at them as a partner, as a leader, as a provider, as a friend. We're just looking at them as money. And what can I get from you?
yeah, I'm with you 100%, man. It's like I told you, before, as a man, and now I have goddaughters and I also have my god grandbabies. I have great granddaughters as well. And one of them happened to go to school with me now. The other one graduated 2 years ago. And just being a presence in their life, you know, and I took one of them, I took her to dinner about 2 or 3 weeks ago, man. And just to sit there and just to listen to her, let her tell me how she felt about things and just her attitude about things, and then for her to let me, talk to her. I'm telling you, man, our young ladies, and I think boys too, but we just
Yeah,
need to have conversations with men, with older
boys too.
men.
Men are important to boys and girls.
Yeah,
Fathers are important. I cannot stress that enough. That's why I'm doing this segment because men are so important in our community, and we need to stop acting like you guys are just a like a piece that we can just come in and out, take it in and out when we feel like it.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
we're being detriment to our children when we do that. There are certain tools that children need on their tool belt that only daddy can teach them, girls
Yeah.
and boys.
I remember, if I like I said, just being a little transparent. You could just go back in time when I was in school, and you could just think about how you know, I wasn't an innocent guy. I had my stuff that I did. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But in the big scheme of thing, though, I was a good dude. You know what I'm saying? I was a good boy, church boy.
right,
Played music at my church. I really didn't go out, stuff like that,
right.
and sometimes it's hard to appreciate. a young man that's not loud and not trying to be out front and trying to be, the popular guy, all that kind of stuff there. And then you see years later, as you get older, guys like myself, guys that were like me, they're sought after. Now they see them now. They married, got families, and now they see them like, man, but this was the same good dude that in high
Right.
school that
Right.
you wouldn't
As
you weren't
Kevin
paying him no
Samuels
attention.
says, when they hit that wall, that's when they want to look for the good guy.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you said, our choices, the things that you know that the type of decisions that our young ladies make, it's almost as if they're pressured into it, because if they're being consumed with the music and the movies and the roles is being played, and you think that
And the
it's
need to
okay,
fit in.
it- it's such a thin line. But like I said, it's so important for a man to hug his daughter, to tell her how beautiful she is,
That's what
to
he's supposed to do. That's
yeah,
what
to
my
let
daddy
her
did to me. Like
yeah,
when you said you took the baby out, me and
mm,
my daddy had daddy daughter days at least once a week, and my daddy would take me out and we'd go out to wherever I wanted to go. We'd dress up, he'd pull my chair out, and we
wow.
just talk.
Wow, that is see, that right there is what I think that a lot of our young ladies need when they're young.
I
Because I
agree.
know, because I see there are men that I see that they take their daughters out on these dates, and they pull the chairs out for them, open the door for them. They pay for their meal, they sit down, converse with them, show them how they should be treated,
Tell
and
them
it
they're
gives them,
beautiful.
yes, and it gives them a standard to live by. And
My king does all of that for me. My king opens
wow.
my doors for me, pulls my chair out, all of that.
Wow, that's well, I'm excited for you for that, because it's rare. It's just so rare. And when you said something earlier, you said courting. I look at some of my timeline on social media, and I've seen ladies say, "What happened, to dating? What happened to like actually
They've
going and
made it
picking
too
up?"
easily accessible. Women have made it too easily accessible. They haven't made it necessary for men to court
Yeah.
them.
Wow. Wow.
Women,
That's
you guys are the ones who make the men do what they do. So if you meet him at the bar and 3 hours later you're having sex with him, he didn't have to court you.
wow. I told I remember telling my young ladies when I was in class, I said, y'all gotta realize how powerful you are. I
I
said,
try.
man, I said, ladies, I said, it's not that you're not trying to be in control, but you're powerful. Meaning, if a young man is truly interested in you, you're in control from the standpoint of, I guarantee you, it might be five other girls that give him six, but he keeps coming back to you if you're the one that's not.
Hmm.
Now the thing about it is, like I said, they called it. Sometimes y'all call men dogs.
Mm-hmm.
He'll go. That easy girl, he'll go to her. I'm telling you,
Right.
he'll do it.
They're
But
going to. Yes.
he's gonna come back to the one that's not. And if that guy continues to come and to court you and want to take you out and hold your hand out in public and take you to the store and buy you some ice cream, you know what I'm saying? Like just the basic, just
And not
hang
try to
out.
just take you home.
I'm telling you right now, young ladies, you still can get that guy. You still can have that guy if you do not have to do what the others are doing. You don't have to. Now, mind you, think about this. Think about what I'm saying. Now, if he's going to continue going out and doing what he's doing, you still could place a stand and say, look, bro, I know you talk to other ladies. I know you're doing that, but I'm telling you, I like you. But if you're going to live that life, then you're not for me. I guarantee you
And
he'll
if he
stop.
wants you, he will cut them girls off so quick.
I'm telling you, he'll stop. He'll stop. But a lot of times, because of the imbalance in fathers in these young ladies' lives and young men, they
Mm-hmm.
feel when they do find a boy that's interested in them, they are so, helpless emotionally, because they might not have that balance in their life, that they go ahead and they'll accept anything. They'll accept anything because he spends time with me. Well, he nice to me. He always texts me. He check on me all the time, and that's it. But you never go out in public. All you do is you come to the house. It's Netflix and chill now. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That just, you just think about it, man. That sounds quirky. All we do is Netflix and chill. We never go out in public, hold hands, walk in the mall, go sit down. Look, you
Go
ain't
to the
got to go.
park.
That's what I'm telling you, man. That stuff is real, and it's still
But
special.
these little girls accept that. Listen, Coach Eddie. I was watching this video on YouTube that was so disheartening to me. This man was interviewing young ladies. They all had to be, like early 20s. None of them looked too much older than like 27, 28. He's asking all of them, how did they feel about relationships? All of these young ladies were like, I don't mess with no relationships. I'm all for like one night stands. I just want to, let's just hit it and quit it. What? This is the mindset of the young ladies.
Wow.
Every girl that he asked, he had to have asked at least 10 girls in this video. All 10 of these girls, none of them wanted a relationship. They just wanted to just have sex.
Wow. The level of low self-esteem and self-worth is at such a all-time low, to be able to accept that,
right.
and think that's cool. Okay.
Right.
That's so scary. But I know you're right, because like I said, as an educator, I worked in discipline for 6 years. So I worked in the office. So when I would get somebody to come in that was in trouble, I would sit there and I would talk to them. And I'm gonna tell you one question I started asking. I would ask them, "How's your relationship with your father?" I said, "You don't have to answer, but if you don't mind sharing, how's your relationship with your father?" And I'll say about 95%. All of them would say, "I don't have a relationship with my dad."
And that does a lot, because what I can say is the relationship with my father made me the woman that I am. My daddy was my best friend. My daddy raised me from when I was 4 to when he passed when I was 25 years old.
Yeah. Wow.
And raised me by himself.
Wow. And see, you don't hear stories like that. That's a story.
My mother was on drugs, and my aunt and my great aunt were like, you need to go check on your baby. And my daddy came and checked on me, and he did not like what he saw. And he told my mother, I'm going to keep her. And when you get back on your feet, you can have her back. When I was 6, she wasn't back on her feet. When I was 8, he said, do you want to live with me or your mother? And I chose him.
Wow. That is a story. People need to hear that. They need to hear that, because that's
why I'm such an advocate for fathers in children's lives, because I've never had daddy issues. Anything that I went through with a man, it was because I went against the blueprint.
Yeah.
I went against the blueprint. I had the blueprint of what a good man was, and I went against it.
And I love your story.
When I went with it, my king is in there right now waiting for me to finish this interview.
Wow, that is amazing.
When I changed my energy from that toxicity that I learned from the elder women around me, I'm a strong, independent. When I changed that energy, because I saw it wasn't getting me anywhere but single and angry and bitter like the women who taught me that energy, I got my king. I attracted the right type of energy once I changed mine.
Wow. Oh my goodness. People need to hear this. Oh man.
That's why I'm doing this podcast, because I'm transparent, and I know that there's a lot of women out there that are living in toxicity, and you're marinating in it, and you don't know why you're like that. You don't know how to change. And I'm telling you, you can. You can change. You can be better. All you got to do is just take that first step.
What caused you? What happened? What point of the self-awareness when it was, because your story sounds like almost like the prodigal son, where you had your father there, you had a blueprint straight away, from the blueprint, found a lot of anguish, a lot of pain. What happened to get you to say, for you to come back to yourself and understand that you needed to make an adjustment in how you were doing things. If you don't mind me asking you that question, what was that point for you?
I don't mind you asking at all, truthfully, because I would hear from the men in my life, like my cousins, I only had one uncle, but my father, all the men in my life would be like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I'm your father. I'm so glad I'm your uncle and not somebody who has to be in a relationship with you. Like I was a cold piece, Coach Eddie. This polished woman that you seeing before you took a lot of shadow work, a lot of accountability. It took a lot to get to this woman I am now, but I didn't care how it was affecting anybody around me, the men in my life, anybody. But when I saw how it was affecting my children, that's when I was like, I have to change. I have 3 daughters.
Wow.
And I wasn't going to continue the vicious cycle of the angry, bitter, melanated woman. And I saw little pieces of, because I tried so hard not to be that, but when those seeds are planted, you kind of don't have a choice at what's going to grow. Right. Okay, so when I saw that, I saw little pieces and hints of it in my daughters, and then I had a little issue with my mother and the way she made me feel. I just thought, I wonder if my babies feel like this. And I talked to my eldest daughter, who will be 24 in February. Okay. And we had a little, crying moment. We talked for like 2 hours. And that's when I realized like things have to be different.
Wow. I mean, like I said, I keep going back to the fact that you came to a point where you realized I needed to do things different, and you didn't point the fingers and say, I'm this way because of this, and it's just how it is. I'm hurt and I'm mad. This is how I'm going to be. You was like, no, I need to do things differently. This is affecting my daughters.
And I have a son.
Wow.
And I don't want my son to grow up, because little girls, they go and get a man like their father. Little boys get a woman like their mother. I didn't want my son to have a toxic woman, because that's who his mother was.
Right. Wow.
Mikey, I didn't want to continue to perpetuate that cycle of what was, put into me. So I was like, we got to stop this. We got to change this. And I went on a whole spiritual journey, and I, all by myself, I sent my children away to their father, the godmother, and I had to get myself together, because I had to be right for my children, because we are the first teachers, and I was not going to be the cause of sending some more unproductive and hurt and broken children to be the same kind of adults like what was around.
And I'm telling you, man, as a man listening, to you speak that way. That's the language, and that's the voices that we don't get enough of. Every time there's a conversation, is always finger pointing, finger pointing. You looked inside of yourself and saw, after your conversation, which are like, man, I really need to do things differently. And I think that's the thing that, and then not only the thought process, but it was the execution, to go through the pain, because the process is painful. When you're cutting out habits and things that are not good, that you're comfortable with, I mean, it's painful.
It is. And you fought through. It is a lot of accountability that has to be taken.
Yeah.
Because I had to put my big girl pants on, because, see, I had my father. Mm-hmm. But I had to learn how to be a woman by myself. My daddy couldn't teach me how to be a woman.
Yeah.
My daddy could tell me what his perception of a woman was, and some of that was skewed. Like one of his things when I was younger, when I started, getting a little older and wanting to wear makeup, well, you can't wear no prostitute purple. You can't wear no book of red. He wouldn't let me wear braids because he thought that was ghetto. He told me hood rats wear tennis shoes. To this day, I don't really own tennis shoes because of the seeds that were planted in me by my father.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a woman around to offset that stuff. Right. So a lot of stuff I had to learn on my own. Yeah. So one of the things I had to apologize to my daughter for was, I'm sorry that I didn't have my mother to give me the tools I needed to be a mother.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if, you felt like somewhere things weren't the way you wanted them to be, or, I might have failed you in places, but all I could do from this point on is we can, move forward in the right light. But I had to learn how to be a mother.
Yeah.
I didn't have a mother around. And then because we have a lot of these men and women running around unhealed, because for a long time in our community, it was a stigma to go to therapy and to
Yeah.
seek help.
Yeah.
And so we have all these unhealed adults running around. And my father ended up with a lot of toxic ass women who were
Yeah.
just with my father for what they could get from him and didn't care about this little girl that didn't have a woman or no any kind of female role model around. And they didn't impart anything into this little girl. They just tolerated me to reap the benefits of what my father could offer them.
Yeah. Man, so you actually got a chance to see that woman, the woman that you talk about now. You
I
actually got
had
a
to
chance
heal
to
from her. I had to
yeah.
heal from that woman. And so I'm trying to tell these women, don't be her, because you're entering into little girls' lives and you making it worse than it was when you came.
Yeah. Wow.
And these
It,
single fathers, because there's a lot of single fathers out here raising children. And if you're gonna mess with a man with children, if you can't leave those children's lives better than they were before you came in, then don't even enter.
wow. You have I'm just sitting here just thinking about the pieces that you told me in your journey and how many people don't make it. Like they don't get it together because they still want to point the finger, point the finger, point the finger, point the finger. But for your ability to look at within yourself and go through the steps to say, I want to get this right. I think right now, any perspective that we have right now, like I know this title's from a man's perspective. I'm telling you right now, for me, I don't hear that often. It's not often that I hear women like yourself who come to a point to where they're like, I need to do something different. It just seems like they go from pain to pain to pain to pain. And you're looking for somebody else on the outside to fill voids
You'll
that you
never
need to
find
feel
it.
from the inside, and you
You'll
cannot
never
do it.
you'll never find someone to give you that love that you're supposed to be giving yourself. And you'll run around aimlessly looking for it. Just like these girls that are running around aimlessly looking for that love that their father should have given them. I have this philosophy, Coach Eddie.
Mm.
Now, in a young girl's life, your father is the only man that will ever be in your life that will give you unconditional love without anything in return. All he wants is to see you succeed. So that's where you learn about unconditional love. So when little girls are robbed of that unconditional love, you run around trying to fill that void that will never be filled because the first love of your life didn't fill it. The first king in your life didn't fulfill it. And you're going to run around looking for it forever.
Yeah. And you know what? I spoke one time at a church a few years ago, and one of the things that I can't remember what scripture was from, but basically what I was saying is that when you have a skewed relationship with your earthly father, you don't understand what the love of God the Father is. If your earthly father was absent or abusive or there but not there, and then you're supposed to learn who we can't see with our natural eyes. When he says, I am your father, you can't even fathom that. You actually see him the way you see your natural father. So you don't even understand what it means, God, my father. You don't even understand that and what his relationship and how he covers and protects us, with his word in our minds to keep us and have sanity while we're here on earth. We can't fathom that because of the experience that we had. And so I'm looking at yourself, like I said, you're able to understand that relationship with God the Father now because you had a father who loved you unconditionally in spite of whatever happened in your life. So it's like now you're able to understand him. You understand what his role is in your life, and you're able to come to realization. So here you go. It goes back to this because, like I said, I'm a church boy. It's like, man, some people we're going to church, but we don't know God the Father. And it's because of the brokenness that we've experienced, with the relationship here on earth with our natural father sometimes. And so, I mean, you are a prime example, for any young lady. I mean, shucks, even young men, because my goal as a coach and what I do, my number one goal is not to win games. Now, do we win? Yes. That's not my number one goal.
Right.
I want my young men when they leave me to be equipped to want to be a husband
I
and a
love it.
father.
I love it because that's what we need in our community.
That is my goal. And so I'm real tough. I'm real tough because of my old pastor from a few years ago in Natchitoches. His name is Richard Stampley. He always says, God created men to make our best decisions under pressure. So if I don't teach you how to handle pressure, you see what I'm saying? If I don't teach you how to handle pressure, then what winds up happening is when you do become somebody's husband or father, when times get hard, you quit.
Now,
You
ladies,
quit.
you hear this? Y'all can't teach that lesson. That's not something that we teach. Men bring structure. Men bring something to the household that we don't bring. We're the divine feminine. We're the nurturer. We're the lover. We're the caring. That's what we bring. They bring the structure and all of that. That's
Mhm.
why we have the divine masculine and the divine feminine, because it's a balance.
Yes.
Children need that balance.
Yeah.
And when you leave one of the parents out, that balance is missing.
That's
And
right.
I realized that, and I had to figure it out on my own, but I realized that
Yeah.
balance was missing. I didn't
Yeah.
get the nurturing. When I hurt myself and I was bleeding, my daddy would say, it's a long way from your heart.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. Oh, that's mommy's baby. Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I remember I had one of my parents years ago that, she was raising her two sons on her own. Their dad, I think, was in jail. And the conversation was, she apologized. She said, look, I know my baby's spoiled. She's like, I know. She said, but I'm just, I'm doing the best I can with him. And I told her, I say, ma'am, I said, you were designed to be a nurturer. I said, you weren't designed to be hard nosed and always tough. I said, you're designed. I said, you cannot stop being who you were designed to be. I said, but I told her, but you have me coaching your son, and right now I'm able to be a male influence. I say, but allow me to do my part in his life. Just let me do my part in his life. I said, you don't know what it looks like. You don't know what my part is as a man in his life. I said, so you let me do my part. You might not understand it, but here it is now. He's an adult, and guess what? He's doing pretty good in his life. He's doing pretty good in his life.
That's
And
what we need. That's what we need. I commend you, Coach Eddie. You know what? If nobody told you, I appreciate what you do and what you've done, because we need that in our community. I became a life coach because I'm not just saying we need to be better versions of ourselves. If you want to be, I'll help you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Not only that, but I mentor young women.
Mhm.
When young women reach out to me, I mentor them. I have a couple that I'm mentoring right now.
Mhm.
We should be giving back.
Yeah. Hey, your story, you need to be on stages. I mean, you need to be on
You only
stages.
heard a little snippet of it. My story gets deep.
Yeah, you need to be on stages because it's just it's been so long. I can't remember the last time I heard a young lady, you know, have a story similar to yours with being raised by her father and then knowing that she went astray and then catching herself and understanding I'm better than this, but I got to do the work. I have to do the work. And then when you start to do the work, now you have, like you said, you're a king. The man that you deserve to have. You know what I'm saying? Like that's amazing.
Man like my father.
Yes, right. That's amazing. I
That
love
treats
it.
me right. He does anything for me. Listen, I'm in here talking to men all day, every day, interviewing men, and he has no problem with it. He's like, so you got another interview tonight? Y'all kids stay out of there while your mama's doing the interview.
I love it. And he ain't worried.
Because he knows who I am. Like, this is
right.
my calling. I want better for my people, and whatever part I play in that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Well, I pray that this continues to grow. I'm definitely going to share this interview. I know some ladies I know that own small business that they also mentor, and definitely see if there could be some connection made there.
I would definitely love to.
Yeah.
I want to connect with other like-minded sisters. I'm doing this because you find your people when you put it out there.
Yeah.
So I'm an advocate for my kings because it seems like the whole world hates y'all. I'm an advocate for my kings, and I feel like you guys need to be heard. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of us women don't listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to just be quiet and listen, ladies.
Yeah.
But when you've had to reside in that divine masculine for so long because you're trying to make up for what's missing, you don't know how to go back to being feminine.
Yeah.
See, divine masculine isn't submissive. So
Yeah.
that's why it's damn near impossible for you to be submissive to a man because
Yeah.
you're residing in divine masculine. That's not submissive. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. That is very true. That's very true. I do know. I tell people sometimes that when you know how people use the term in church, they call trick of the enemy. Okay, and I'll say one of the things I know is we get caught up in all of the symptoms of and the habits that we get caught up in that can be detrimental to us. But the truth is, the destruction of the family is the number one thing that the enemy is after. Destroy the family because the man is designed to cover a family and lead a family. They don't make us perfect. We don't get everything right all the time. That's not what that means because you're a team, you work together. But ultimately, though, the structure of a family is being destroyed. That's the agenda right now that's happening. And you have so many children being born out of wedlock, that's happening, and they're growing up without their dads. And then they turn around and then they become absent fathers. You see what I'm
Or
saying?
they feel like men aren't substantially important in the household, and now they're raising their children without fathers because they didn't have one and they don't understand the importance. I understand if you don't know, you don't know. But I
Right.
know the importance of a father because I had mine. And if
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had my father to offset some of the seeds that were planted by some of the toxic elder women in my life, who knows where I'd be right now.
Right. Right. Well, Mikey, I tell you, it's been a pleasure and an honor to get a chance to converse with you and to be able to hear that. It's refreshing and it's encouraging to know that there are women out there like yourself who are advocating for, the male role in the household because it just, there are a lot of people that's married, but the men are still not the covering in the home,
And
you
he's
know.
supposed to be.
Yeah,
Supposed
like I said, he's not gonna get it right all the time. Like that's the one thing I do understand. I appreciate my wife because she challenges me, and sometimes it can be very uncomfortable. Sometimes, and the only reason it's uncomfortable because I don't want to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Like
I
because
know how it is.
but she's like no, because she'll tell me you got it. There'll be some stuff you got it, and she'll get out the way. You know what I'm saying? Like
I know.
she's like you got it, handle it. And I'm sitting here looking like, all right. But I appreciate her. But guess what? She had a strong father as well. She had a
Right.
strong father.
I allow and that's why I'm saying that's why these little girls need men because I know how to allow my man to be the leader.
Yeah.
I know how to follow. I
Yeah.
can be submissive. I
Mm-hmm.
can allow him, and then he allows me to be the queen of the household because that doesn't mean that the queen is behind or up under. Now,
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to make any decision in the household that's going to affect me without discussing it with me. I'm going to
Right.
tell him how I feel about it, and I'm going to trust him as the man and as the leader of the household to make the best decision for the household, and that's what it is.
Right.
And that's what we're
Man.
going to go with.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for the invitation. I was encouraged by listening. I mean, I know that you wanted to get some perspective from the men, and I hope that I was able to be of help. But
Most definitely. I enjoyed our conversation, and I didn't even get to half of my questions because we just it took a different turn, but I'm cool with that. I'm all about transparency.
yeah,
I'm raw, I'm real. So I might have to have you back for a part two because we didn't
yeah,
even get to
I
everything
know.
we needed to get to.
But
But we
that's
touched
cool. I
on good
mean,
things. And that's
oh
what this
yeah,
is about. We need to have these conversations.
that's
We need to
right.
talk about these things and we need to address these things. Like
Yeah,
my thing says, we need to reconstruct the foundation.
right,
The
right. Yeah,
foundation is not as sturdy as it should be right now.
yeah. I think we do need to continue. I think this is was I think it was kind of we was getting to know each other a little bit in the conversation as well. and I
Right.
definitely know you have some others. So I'm definitely looking forward to coming back. And
I'm also going to have a round table where I'm going to have some of the men that I've already
okay,
interviewed. I'm going to bring you guys back. We're going to all together, and we're
okay,
just going to have a whole open, discussion.
I
Everybody,
love that.
because I
I
also
love
want
that.
to show something different, because the perception of us in the media is that we can't get along. So I'm
Okay,
bringing all kinds of men that don't even know each other, all of y'all together, different ages, different walks of life, and we're going to show them how we can all get together and we can all share our opinions and our minds, and ain't going to be no problems.
hey, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm all for it. I mean, I'm telling, hit me up. I'm all for it.
I'm going to hit you in your inbox with the information,
All
because I
right.
definitely want you to come on back. Um, we are getting towards the end. I didn't even
Okay.
get to all my questions, like I said. So he'll be back. I mean, I'm not going to say ladies because he ain't single, but he'll be back.
That's
But
right.
some
That's
men
right.
are single. So I'm like, y'all heard them, ladies. He told you where you can find them, because I'm promoting Black love.
There
I'm
you
all about
go.
love. So,
There you go.
but
There
y'all
you
can't
go.
have this one, ladies. He's taken.
That's
But
right, man. 20 years.
I
20
love
years.
the conversation, so I do want you to come back.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
But
looking
I will
forward
get to
to
one question before we go, since you
it. Okay.
are
Okay.
married. So when you were out there dating and you were looking for a wife,
Mhm.
what were some of the qualities that your wife had that made her the one? Like, this is my wife.
Yeah.
And what were some of the red flags that the other women that didn't make the cut have?
Well, man, I'm gonna try to keep it short, but I'm gonna tell you my story. All right. So when I think I was about 19, maybe about 19 years old, and during that time frame, at a young age, I always wanted to be married. I did. Even though I had mom and dad at home, I still didn't understand what it meant. But I knew that I wanted to have a family, and I did not want to be a bachelor. I just didn't want to do that. And so what wound up happening was I prayed a prayer, and the prayer it was right after a relationship I was in, and it was just, I'm not gonna, it's definitely not a finger pointing session. It was just, it just didn't work. Okay. And I was like, you know what, man, and for a little while, for a few months, I dated, a handful of different ladies here and there, and I was like, man, I said, I don't want to do this. I was like, Lord, I mean, the next relationship I get in, I want this to be for marriage. I want this to be the one. I don't want to waste time putting my energy here and putting it there. I really do want to be in a relationship and get married and have a family. But people don't understand that when you pray out loud, that other guy heard too. See, not only God heard the prayer. So, but tell you what wound up happening is and to make it short, the other young lady, I actually, after praying that prayer, I met a young lady, and what it was is that all of the characteristics that I felt like I needed, because I grew up in what we call a Pentecostal household, that church household,
Mhm.
and you know she met all that criteria, and she was gorgeous. I mean, just all the criteria, she checked all the boxes. And but in the meantime, I befriended who I'm married to now. We became friends.
Mhm.
So it's around the same time.
Mhm.
So me, I'm being, I wasn't right. I'm hanging out with my current wife. She
With the
lived here in
girlfriend.
town, and then the girlfriend was about 30 minutes down the road in another town.
Mm.
And so when that's happening, it's like I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm not. It's just weird. But I wasn't. I was being no good. So I can't sit there and fix it. I was being no good, but I was caught. And so what wound up happening is that I needed some confirmation. Need some confirmation. And so after I got that confirmation, I made my choice. But the thing about when I made my choice, my current wife, when she found out, notice I say she found out that I was dating the other young lady,
Right.
she stepped away. She said, no, hey, if we're gonna be together, we're gonna be together. Otherwise, if you can go that way, go that way. That's fine. She said, hey, she said it was all good, no problem. I ain't tripping. But for some reason, when she did that, it struck a nerve. I was like, hi. I don't want to stop talking to this one.
Not this
And
one.
yeah, so when she stood her ground, that did something to me. When she stood
Mm,
her ground, that did something to me. It did cause me to want to pursue her and build with her. And it was no slight on the other young lady at all. I mean, just being honest. I mean, it has nothing to do with her. I think she just got caught up in, with a guy that was just in between trying to figure out who he was.
hmm.
And when I made my decision, the same stuff that I love about my wife can be the same stuff that get on my nerves sometimes.
Right.
You
I
see what
know
I'm
how
saying?
that is. Yeah,
It's the
I
same
know.
it's the same things that I appreciate are the things that get on my nerves. So,
Yes.
with her, she literally just made me stand on my own 2 feet as a young man and start to make my own decisions. And like I said, she didn't make me do anything. It's just
Right.
she helped me to see, who I was as a man. And like I said, just to keep it short, man, we didn't waste any time. I proposed to her on Christmas night of 2000. We got married December the 8th of 2001. I was a junior in college. She was a senior. She was in nursing school. I was in school, and we went ahead and got married, man. And we and like I said, and I've done a lot of dumb things over the course of 20 years. And we both have done a lot of dumb things to the point to where we both have said, you know what, screw you. I don't want to
Right.
fool with you no more. But you know
Right.
what? We fought. We fought, man. Like I said, if you're a woman and you willing to be with a man making $400 a month, brother,
Mm,
man, you were fighting for. You were
right.
fighting for, and now we're living a pretty good life, and a lot of things are happening well in our life at this point. And man, I don't want to do anything in the midst of the winning for the long haul now. So, and
Okay.
that's a condensed version. That's a condensed version. But
I'm with it. You can share a
yeah,
little more on part two.
yeah,
So, is there, oh, you know what? I'll save that for the next one.
okay, all
So, is
right.
there anything that you'd like to promote that you have going on?
Well, of course, I have almost 2 decades of experience in education as a coach, and so what I've done is when I created the Coaches Sanctuary podcast. Basically, what it is I help coaches build successful athletic programs off the court. And what
Hmm.
it really is a self evaluation. It's getting men and coaches in my profession to look internally to better ourselves and self develop in order to be better coaches and serve the players and student athletes, that we coach.
Hmm.
So, I know that it was truly God given. I've been on this journey for 5 years in public speaking, um, so about 5 years now, and I've kind of just dipped and dabbed in different things. But here recently, over the last few months, it finally hit home. After just doing a little praying, doing a little fasting, and understanding, man, this is who I am, and I've been able to have a lot of success, as a coach with not a whole lot of talent, and because I've learned how to get to the hearts of the players that I serve and get them to achieve goals that they didn't even think that they could. So now I've stepped up now to use the Coaches Sanctuary to start to share that information and those nuggets on how to personally develop and get better, so that I can help other coaches, man, do better in their careers and also and find more satisfaction, because sometimes, Mikey, sometimes we're not looked at as humans. We're just
Hmm.
not. People look at us, about a month ago, there's a man who got killed, 9 year old football game, 9 year old. He's a coach. And this father decides to get into an argument and shoot this man in front of these children
For what?
because
Over.
he went over a football game, because
Mm,
maybe his son didn't touch the ball enough. It
mm,
was amazing. And so, my timing in, starting the Coaches Sanctuary, this is what, so it's not just for coaches, even though that's who I'm mentoring, but it's also for people to see us as humans. Because everybody think their child's going to be a professional athlete. And the truth is that there's only 2% of high school athletes all over the world
right.
that become professional athletes.
Exactly.
And so my focus is, I always say this, I would never sacrifice character for talent. So what I'm doing is helping other coaches learn how to focus on the character development of our student athletes more than just coaching their talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can find me, the Coaches Sanctuary, all major platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, and then now I also have podcasts on Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, Stitcher, and Amazon Music. So, so it's one of those things that you can find me anywhere. I'm still hustling. I'm also on YouTube as well. The Coaches Sanctuary is what it is, man. Check it out. Like it, share it, and hope to be a blessing to people in my arena. I've been getting a lot of feedback from people in other career paths as well. But like I said, my target audience is other athletics coaches like myself.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. I
Yeah.
really appreciate your time.
Yes.
I had a great conversation with you. Like I said, it flowed so seamlessly. I didn't even get to all my questions.
I
You
know.
definitely
Yeah, I'm
got
looking forward to it. I'm
some
looking
for
forward.
a
It's meant to be. I think this is meant to be. We have us another part, and I become part of the round table. I love this. I really
yes.
believe this is going to be a blessing to a lot of people. So I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
I'm grateful for your time as well. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you guys for joining me. Remember, the first step to change is realizing that a change is necessary. I challenge you to do a little self reflection and figure out if a change might be necessary. We're live on Glacier FM. Thank you for joining me. You can find me on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart. You can go to YouTube and see the the video, video version. It'll be Tell Your Friends, exclamation, with Mikey, MYCHE. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us. I appreciate loved your presence on Tell Your Friends.
All right.